How bad is it in Virginia as far as the new gun laws or anti-gun laws are coming? Stick by. I want to read you a little bit of an article that's in the Washington Post from an attorney in Virginia, and it gives you a glimpse into their mindset and what else is coming down the pike just based off of his statement. Stick by. You're going to want to hear this. So on November 29th, there's an article, and I'll link down below to it. It was a letter to the editor, and it was written by David Yaffe of Arlington, Virginia. And I did a quick search, and there is a David Yaffe that happens to be an attorney. Don't know if it's him, but when you hear some of this stuff, if he is an attorney, you can probably get the gist of what they're pushing for next. A couple quick paragraphs, that's all it is. I'll read it real quick.
Go ahead.
It says, the views of the rural Virginians described in the November 24th front page article, in Virginia, gun buffs plan to defy the new laws, are that of gun control proposals expected to be introduced in the 2020 Virginia legislature will change their way of life, and that a law enforcement officer who believes a law to be unconstitutional may choose not to enforce it. According to this guy, both assertions are dishonest and factually incorrect. Assume that the expected laws would limit the number of guns sold and the capacity of magazines, and would require a registration and add a red flag law. You know, some of that unconstitutional stuff. I also know some people grow up with their rifles for hunting and handguns for protection. But semi-automatic weapons are not part of that way of life. Okay. Obviously you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about, but I'll continue. That technology did not exist when the Second Amendment was adopted. Indeed, rifling in the barrels of guns to improve the distance and accuracy of a shot was not widespread, but it did exist. Hunting and self-defense do not require that level of lethality. I'll hit you with that again. Hunting and self-defense do not require that level of lethality. As for registration, the Second Amendment begins with, quote, a well-regulated militia, end quote. If one was to be part of the militia with a gun, the authorities needed to know who owned what guns. This guy is an idiot. Doesn't even know what he's talking about. First off, well, let me continue. Also, no law enforcement officer is given the right to determine what actions are or are not constitutional. And officers enforce the law. The lawyers for their jurisdictions may question those laws and challenge those laws in court, but they have no legal right not to enforce a law validly existing on the books. The way of life argument is bogus and not supportive of the obligations we, as citizens of the Commonwealth of Virginia, owe to each other. Okay, a couple quick issues. First off, I'm shooting this in my hand, so I'm going to switch. I'm trying out a new camera that's new to the channel here. Let me know what it looks like. I don't have any lighting on. It's just the sun coming through my window. So first off, the Second Amendment, Mr. Yaffe, was not penned for hunting and or personal defense. It was actually to shoot tyrants in the face. It was to end tyranny, which is how this country started. And this country will be saved again if it should come to it by the Second Amendment. That's what it's for. And it requires all of the lethality, all of it, and then some, to take down a tyrannical dictator, government, whatever. Okay? Because there hasn't been a war won with water balloons and the way you write, I'm just assuming that you're one of these crunchy people, but rainbows, unicorns, happiness, my feelings, none of that wins wars. Lethality does. As far as not enforcing unconstitutional laws, yes, every police officer has that opportunity to make that decision because it is our duty not to enforce an unconstitutional law, just like you don't take illegal orders in the military. Obviously, you've never served and you have no clue of what you're talking about. Must have been really dangerous for you in law school. But I wanted to read this article, ladies and gentlemen, because this is the thought process of those who just took over Virginia. The fact that they came out through a lot of people saying illegal ways to win this election, thanks to Michael Bloomberg, who now is running for president. I'll have a video about what he plans on doing to the country shortly. But you have to pay attention to what's really going on. And like Barack Obama said, elections have consequences. The time is now more precious and important and critical than ever before to teach your children, teach the young ones the truth about how the country was formed, what the forefathers wanted, not what the crunchy Marxists want. They often are fooled when they're young with very cool things like, oh, we'll give you free stuff like this, or everybody's doing this. It's so much nicer for our feelings to be coddled. But in reality, your feelings don't matter. And when you're an adult, nothing matters when it comes to your feelings. In fact, government could care less about your feelings when they're taking over control. Now, if you're in Virginia, and I know a lot of Virginians right now are coming out, and a lot of counties are turning into pro 2A or Second Amendment sanctuary counties, I know that they have woken the sleeping giant there, and they are poking the bear. But this is the mindset of what has just taken over the Commonwealth of Virginia. I'd like to know your comments down below. If you know this guy, this David Yaffe from Arlington, let me know what kind of chap he is, and what are some of the things that you teach your children when it comes to the importance of how the country was started and the blueprints of the nation called the Constitution. Remember, they don't even teach penmanship in school anymore. That's a whole generation that can't even read the founding documents because they're written in cursive. Just a quick thought for a Sunday morning. Until we see each other again, this is Jared from Guns and Gadgets. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's where you're going to get the hottest Second Amendment news, whether it's good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, and even some articles from left-wing lunatics. Until we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, and carry a weapon. Take care, everybody.